any of the money of stardom, but all of the ego problems. You know, once again, public flame out, closed accounts. You know, they keep going. It's amazing. The amazing atheist is lucky he has absolutely no shame, or he'd be gone too. You know, self imposed exile. You know, right before it's always nothing will get me to leave. Then boom, closed account. But you know, yet another one. Look what it puts them through. You know, look what it. Coughlin comes across like no problem. Oh, I could take it. No, he's actually as emotional as, you know, it's not just an act. These guys are really feeling those emotions. You know, if you wanted to have 100,000 subscribers, you'd have to be actually as emotional as you sound sometimes. You know, and then you would have burned out too. And finally, you know, if things bothered you as much, my theory is they don't bother you as much as some people think, because you vent, you get it out. You know, and it still bothers you. It's like, oh, I hate that shit, but you know, you're not like, oh, I gotta cancel my channel now. You know, whereas these guys do it, make a mistake, and then boom, it's like, oh, but what did they think? Nobody thought they were perfect to begin with. Why? But some mistake they'll make, and boom, it's too much for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Coughlin thing was a little bit, I think part of that was, he's definitely emotional, I mean, about it, even regardless of what he says. Um, but, if he was still on his old channel, okay, Coughlin 666, which was partnered, which he was making money off of, I think then he probably wouldn't have closed the account, okay? I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but, if he was giving up something real, he was giving up something nothing. I mean, the 616 account was only a month and a half old, and then he created another account, Coughlin 000, which was his starting over account, but then he killed that when Peach killed her account. So, I mean, he's basically given up nothing, and he's doing it, and he's with the, he's going to be back kind of thing. So, I mean, I guess I would say, yeah, all right, it's a blow up, but it's a blow up that doesn't really mean anything because he was already blown up by YouTube. I mean, YouTube killed him when they wiped out his 666 account. I mean, that was a real, that was pain. I mean, because he lost income there.
Because
And
he's
then
an actual performer, where you know that is a stage that he had available to him, and that really sucks. And I was surprised he didn't get it back. It seems like so many people have gotten the strikes and managed to get back, or it times out. I don't really know the details, but I watched you go through it and stuff. But so
yeah,
that's
no, I
maybe
mean
also a
YouTube is
stage.
has taken a new turn because yeah, they're wiping stuff out now, and it just doesn't make any sense. I mean that video he did on pornography was nothing. I mean it was almost Walter Cronkite um, pure. I mean it was good stuff, and for him to lose his account over that was just insane. Um, so I mean yeah, it's hit a new low for YouTube. But anyway, so that's a context, and then the other context is this whole relationship thing and that kind of drama, and so that drama is inevitable. That people, they get, two guys, a guy lives with each other. So it's like the Stodels thing. There's a little drama, right? I mean, they're sort of not in our league anymore or in this group, but I mean that was another little drama 2 weeks ago. Where Stodels wiped out Brain Police's account, because they were living together, or, well, whatever the whole soap opera there is. But there's all these little intrigues. Jedi Master Boo Boo had all kinds of trouble, all kinds of, so there's all this shit where people get into each other's lives. And yeah, and Coughlin and Peach did it kind of public, so that was that was asking for disaster. I mean, come on, relationships are tough enough when you live in the same town and you keep things private. When here, I mean, that was such a public thing, and there was no way for that relationship. I mean, what chance does it really have?
I
I
thought
mean,
it was more or less a joke and just a couple of videos to begin with. We mentioned it, I think it was last week or maybe before that, and I was like, I didn't know they were really supposed to be together. And even when I heard, oh yeah, they are, it's like, oh well, that does happen. But then it turns out it's not real. And she's saying it's not real, and he evidently thought it was real, or is it just an act? I don't know. It's like there's this surreal. Usually I like this surreal kind of confusion thing, but this is just like it's like, wow, I'm really glad I missed this stuff. And by the time I find out something's real, the next day I find out no, it's not real. And you know, it's like by the time I find anything out, it's sort of wrapped up and over. But yeah, I mean, you can't put your stuff, or if you are going to put it online, it all has to be that way. You know, if you ask somebody to propose on Twitter, you have to ask them to break up with you on Twitter. You know, you got to have some consistency or something. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it just is a little bit. Um, yeah. You don't know when they're gaming you or they're getting gamed or whatever's happening. You know what part is real and what part is Memorex or whatever. But yeah, I mean, look, we're all kind of flawed people, and some you got to kind of be flawed to be doing this, or you know, disconnected from the real world in some way, and so I guess that makes these people more vulnerable. These people,
Part of it.
yeah, like I should talk,
Us,
like I haven't
yeah.
been caught in it myself, you know. I mean, so you know.
I think if you're a performer like Coughlin, you really have to do what you did. But you see how it's really hard to take your audience somewhere else. But then again, you are in the conversation. I think if you are actually making money and that's how you want to make money, you're a performer, and so it becomes like this marketing thing. You really have to do a lot of marketing. You have to make all of those people have connections to you besides YouTube, because they're a company and they will use their economic control over you one way or another more and more every year, no doubt.
Oh, and you really have to get into that. Yeah, you do have to play the game, because you can see it with videos that are featured. You know, I mean, I see it every one of my videos. You know, when the player ends playing, it always shows the you know, Meridian Frost or Azranok. You know, it's always the same videos. It always shows. You know, to you know, that are the featured videos. So it's like my name is basically owned by those featured channels, which is just kind of. I mean, that's almost a cheat. You know, it's like, why should my name be owned by them? Why should their videos have more power on my name than my videos?
And you ought to, if they're going to do stuff like that, you ought to at least have some input. Like, you should have your list of favorites, and those are who should come up in that related window. Though there's something wrong with me, because usually it's just another video of mine that comes up. All the related videos will be things I did. But whatever, it's something. I'm truly disconnected, probably. They can't figure out who the fuck I relate to.
Yeah, no, but I am the choice when somebody subscribes to your channel. I'm one of the guys that comes up. My name and what was the other one? The Amazing Atheist? I'm not sure. But it's kind of funny
suck.
that
Well,
you know, it's just that I've made so many response videos, I guess, you know, that they'll you know, let a non-featured channel, the recommended channel.
Recommended.
Yeah, we're trying to go big on.
You're, you're trying to go nowhere. It's like making some kind of space bubble. We want to go to Mars, be the first life on Mars. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of videos. Been watching a lot of this physics stuff, this Halon Collider shit, and you know, much like 3 or 4 hours worth of videos on this dark matter, dark energy. Man, physics is getting really convoluted.
Hey, Garrett,
Really hard to follow this shit.
I got a name of a scientist you might want to watch. If you can't stand Neil deGrasse Tyson, you will not like this guy. Michio Kaku.
Yeah, well, he's already loses on the name. Kaku. Yeah, I'll have to just write that down for fun.
But that's kind of like when you eat something and you go, oh, this tastes really bad. I think this is rotten. Try it.
Yeah.
But you know what I loved about your one video against Tyson is when you called him more of an entertainer, because that's what he is. He's a curator in a fucking museum, and he's a television host. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a scientist, but that's what he does. He entertains.
Yeah, and he was like hatched in the Carl Sagan incubator or something, you know. So, I mean, that's the not that, you know, I mean, look, Carl Sagan was a nice guy, but Carl Sagan was about entertaining and it was soft science. It was pussy atheism. It was, all these things I'm not too pleased with.
Legitimate research astronomer for years, and even after he started Cosmos. I mean, his public persona was just this popularizer, but he actually was a real astronomer, astrophysicist.
I'm not discounting that at all. I'm just saying that he obviously did have the beauty in the universe bug, and in my opinion, this nonsense does corrupt these people's beliefs. I mean, you listen to that Degrassi guy, and he makes they're just silly arguments. I mean, come on. Life is likely to exist in the universe because it's made out of common elements. I mean, that's a logical argument. Because something's made out of common elements means it happens regularly.
If it's
a nuclear power plant's probably...
If it's 1 in a trillion chance, I mean, there's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of chances. So, I mean, that's where that comes from.
But it doesn't go any. No, that's not the rationale he's using. He's using the rationale that it's not made out of anything rare, so therefore it can't be rare. I mean, that's just a stupid argument. I mean, the argument is what are the trillions of trillions of trillions of impediment odds against? And those are infinite also. So for all the infinite universe, which isn't infinite, there are an infinite combination of scenarios you can create to make this impossible to be duplicated.
What it's made of, right? I mean, I think it's just made of these materials and physics we don't understand, but for all we know, there is some weird material involved on Earth. I mean, in life on Earth. We don't know. We can't recreate it out of just the chemicals we found. It's like you find just the chemicals and suddenly you know what life is made of. Well, no, not until you can use those chemicals to recreate it. And you might find out, oh no, there's some other kind of physics.
Well, there could be a catalyst. This is a video I want to make that I haven't done yet. But I mean, there could have been a catalyst in the formation of the first life form. So there could have been a substrate, another life formy thing, a half life form or something that was actually the substrate or the form in which the first life form was allowed to do its protein evolution to become capable of dividing a cellular membrane and chromosomes together, as a package. And so that could only happen if the life form had contact with this catalyst substance, molecule, or half life form also. So it could have required 2 life forms or 3 life forms, semi-life form, half life forms that weren't quite capable of reproduction, but were complex cellular chemistry. And so that could be the substrate. And yeah, without that substrate, it can't happen. So that substrate could have, it could be you need a piece of gold, or you need a diamond, or you need some special element that would be very rare. So there his whole argument falls, because the abiogenesis part, the first reproducing cell, could have required very complex environmental chemistry. I didn't say that very well, but the bowl that life was mixed in could have been made out of really rare chemistry.
Thing is, even though I'm kind of on the side of, hey, it looks like it might be common, we'll have to find out, because the thing is about this too. I mean, the people that want to talk about that life could come from outer space, that bacteria could be frozen for 1 million years and land. I mean, this really hurts the idea that life is common, because it's quite potential that it just happened in one place, and given hundreds of millions of years to float around this substrate or the whole life form itself or whatever the basis is, it could be tremendously rare. And it is possible to have a probability of things that are likely only to happen, one time in the life of the universe. So
well, that's what I'm saying. Is that argument's almost on my side, because now if you're going to start saying that it can do this space travel thing so easily, then why hasn't it landed on Earth? It should be here. And these crude life forms, And these crude life forms should be quite, people keep talking about their lack of durability. Well, we find that these really antique life forms have a lot of durability.